Orochimaru is one of the most iconic OG villains of Naruto and the first long-term villain of the franchise, popping up as a major threat during the Chunin exams and being the boogeyman in the background all the way up into the Itachi Pursuit arc, where the fear existed in the story he'd take over Sasuke's body until Sasuke pulled a reverse Uno card and killed Orochimaru and absorbed him into his being briefly. There's a lot we can say about Orochimaru, but here are 15 things you might not know about Orochimaru if you've only watched Naruto's anime. Number 1, did you know that while Orochimaru is indeed a genius, he's actually one of the few shinobi to have mastered all 5 changes in chakra nature through natural means and not through cheat codes like becoming a 10-tailed Jinchuriki or getting the Rinnegan. It makes a lot of sense just given the fact that this is the man who is obsessed with learning all things ninjutsu in the Naruto world to the point where he experimented on people, and he does have one of the largest knowledge bases of ninjutsu and chakra in the franchise. According to Naruto's 4th data book, which covers Naruto volumes 44 to 72, Orochimaru has mastered all 5 changes in chakra nature. However, that's not all. Number 2, did you know that Orochimaru by the end of the series is actually significantly stronger and more deadly than he was during the Konoha Crush arc when he faced the 3rd Hokage in battle? Well, like a lot of characters in the war arc of Naruto, Orochimaru got a pretty nasty power boost upon getting revived. Not only did he take some of the power from Kabuto that originally belonged to him in Naruto chapter 593, but by making Zetsu his new body, he also gained access to a body that had a lot of Hashirama cells added to it, which is another power boost for Orochimaru. And the 4th Naruto databook reveals that when he absorbed that chakra from Kabuto, he also gained the Kage Genkai of the Sound 4 that Kabuto had access to, as well as whatever shinobi who Kabuto transplanted their DNA into his own, which includes Kimimura's Kage Genkai that Orochimaru originally wanted, as well as Karin Uzumaki's high-speed regenerative abilities. Not bad for a guy who was out of the manga for a few hundred chapters to come back and get a huge power up like that. Number 3, did you know that Orochimaru does indeed have a last name? In the Viz translation of the manga, we don't actually see his last name because of the quality of the original Japanese scan was so rough at the time, but in the Japanese version of the manga, the names of Orochimaru's parents are written on a headstone and their names are written as 2 words each, implying that there was a last name, but due to the tiny kanji written at such a faraway shot in the panel of Orochimaru visiting his parents as a child, it's near impossible to read the last name, so go ahead and theorize what that last name could be. Number 5, did you know that while Orochimaru was in Konoha, the man was an absolute monster with the number of missions he completed as a Konoha shinobi? Orochimaru, according to the Naruto databooks, completed nearly 1,500 missions as a Konoha shinobi, coming in just under 400 behind Jiraiya, despite Jiraiya still being a Konoha shinobi a full decade longer than him. The mission total breakdown is as follows: 16 D rank missions, 332 C rank missions, 521 B rank missions, 491 A rank missions, and 108 S rank missions, for a grand total of 1,468 total missions as a Konoha shinobi. Number 5, did you know that Orochimaru has been the source of a couple of retcons in the Naruto manga, with the first one being the timetable for when he left the Hidden Leaf Village? When we're first told about Orochimaru in Naruto Part 1, we're told that he left the village immediately after Minato was named the 4th Hokage because he was upset at being picked over for the position. However, when we get to the war arc, we learn that this is actually not the case at all. Orochimaru stayed behind in Konoha for a few more years after Minato's death, serving as a root shinobi who worked for Danzo long enough for Danzo to already have had his Hashirama cell arm bandaged up. Number 6, did you know we have contradicting information on how Orochimaru began studying the reincarnation methods? We're first led to believe this started in the manga back during the time when Orochimaru was a Konoha shinobi, but we learned in the Sasuke Retcons novel that Orochimaru has been looking into the Sage of Six Paths history while he was a rogue ninja running from Konoha, and had actually looked into the various variations of Edo Tensei that Hagoromo's writings had spoke on. And in the second Naruto Shippuden movie, we learned that Orochimaru studied reincarnation while learning underneath the shinobi from the Land of Sky. This might very well be one of those situations where all these things can be true if we take the approach. It speaks volumes that Orochimaru was hell-bent on finding out the truth behind reincarnation and immortality. Number 7, did you know that the legendary Sannin members are more than just comrades who fought Hanzo in the second Ninja War, but Naruto series creator Masashi Kishimoto also took inspiration for the characters down to the names from a few different folklores, including the tale of the gallant Jiraiya. And in that story, Orochimaru is actually Jiraiya's student who becomes corrupted by snake magic, similar to how here Hiruzen sees a young Orochimaru looking at a snake at his parents' grave, and this marked the start of Orochimaru becoming obsessed with immortality. Number 8, did you know that the aforementioned folklore isn't the only thing about Orochimaru's character that was borrowed very heavily from Asian folklore and mythology? Orochimaru in particular, his Hydra form comes due to the myth of Orochi and Susanoo, where Susanoo used the Tosca blade to kill Orochi, and after going through his body he found the Kusanagi sword inside of his tail. Orochimaru in that battle produced that same sword from within his own body, and Itachi used Susanoo and the Tosca blade to defeat Orochimaru in Naruto Volume 43, which this information should make you look back at the series of events unfold and see just how clever Kishimoto's writing was. Number 9, did you know in that novel that Jiraiya wrote in the series, he actually based some of Orochimaru's backstory on one of the characters in the story. Over in Japan, there's actually a Naruto novel that's been released that focuses on Jiraiya's writings, in particular telling the story that Jiraiya wrote in universe, and one of the antagonists in that story shares quite a few characteristics with Orochimaru, making it pretty clear that Orochimaru was Jiraiya's muse for this runaway ninja story in that novel that he wrote. Number 10, did you know that Viz Media actually screwed up a line by Orochimaru that is up there with Dragon Ball's Ocean Dub calling Goku's father a brilliant scientist?
Your father was an average fighter, Kakarot, but he was a brilliant scientist.
Or the Funimation Dragon Ball dub calling Trunks by the name of Trunks Brief when neither of those lines was in the original source material? Well, here's what Viz Media did. Back during Orochimaru's appearance in the manga, while the battle with Sasuke in the Forest of Death was going on, Orochimaru actually refers to himself as Orochimaru the Giant Snake, which was never written in the Japanese version of the story. If you go read the physical volume of Naruto Volume 6, you'll see this, and even on the Viz Media Shonen Jump app, you still see that it hasn't been corrected either. Number 11, did you know that for someone like Orochimaru who's seen dozens, if not hundreds of powerful shinobi in his lifetime, the person who Orochimaru wants to fight the most isn't just one person, but instead he wants to fight all people who have jutsu and hidden techniques that would be useful for him to use in the future and future battles according to the Naruto databooks. In short, Orochimaru wants to fight all the people whose jutsu he can study and whose bodies he can steal to use later on. Number 12, did you know that there's a pretty clear reason behind Orochimaru having eggs listed as his favorite food to eat in the Naruto databooks? The reason for this comes back to Orochimaru's constant writing as being like that of a snake, and snakes eating eggs is a common thing. This is also why Orochimaru is stated to dislike any foods that are cold, because snakes typically dislike cold weather. Number 13, did you know there's a super symbolic reason for why Orochimaru is so closely associated with snakes? It's not just because of Susanoo in the Orochi story inspiring the Itachi versus Orochimaru battle that you see in Naruto Volume 43, but it's also because of his fascination with immortality. In Eastern culture, snakes are viewed as being symbols of rebirth and immortality, which is why Orochimaru takes on that giant white snake form and why he sheds parts of his skin at different points in the series. It's also because of the symbolism for snakes and Orochimaru's obsession with immortality. Number 14, did you know that Orochimaru in Boruto, despite his appearance, is actually older than the third Hokage was in Naruto Part 1? Hiruzen was 69 years old when he fought Orochimaru, but by Naruto's war arc, Orochimaru was 54 going on 55. Boruto's story is currently 16 years following the fourth ninja war, which means Orochimaru is currently in his early 70s. Safe to say this crazy baka might actually get his wish to stay immortal. Number 15, did you know that Orochimaru's living corpse jutsu, that jutsu where he takes over the body of a shinobi and keeps a small piece of their soul in his mind, is actually inspired by the concept of kodoku, which is basically Asian folklore that centers around mixing several insects inside of a jar and having them kill each other until only one survive. It's a practice viewed as a type of goo magic, and it was popular during the Nara era Japan, which the Nara era Japan actually inspires a lot of stuff you see in Naruto. However, that's gonna be it for 15 things you did not know about Orochimaru. If this video can hit 4,000 likes within 1 week of uploading this video, I'll do 15 things you did not know about the third Hokage.